Donald Trump keeps winning since his felony convictions, as some Democrats are now leading the way for his campaign. We've seen the stories of Democrats from New York who feel as if the hush money trial was a sham, that it was purely political prosecution, and that it wasn't fair for the former president. Now, the same notion is shared by many Republicans across the nation who feel as if this was an attack, not just on Donald Trump, but also on his family. It's why we've been hearing Melania and Ivanka Trump's name repeated on mainstream media. They even did it for Barron Trump, who just graduated from high school. The idea was that the trial was aimed at embarrassing Trump and his family, but that's not working out too well for the opposition. And this is because some supporters who previously retracted their support for Donald Trump, well, they're now back. In fact, the reason being is because of this sham trial. And here's something that's pretty shocking. We know that Donald Trump has been hit with all of these allegations left and right. He's been silenced with a gag order, and the idea is that he's not above the law. So why is Attorney General Merrick Garland denying the American public the right to listen to President Joe Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur? You remember that one, right? The one where Robert Hur said that the president is an old man that has dementia? Well, Garland appeared before the House Judiciary Committee and basically said that he's not giving us these tapes.
You said that you will not be intimidated. Are you the arbiter?
I'm sorry?
Are you the arbiter, the decider of whether or not those tapes will be provided to this Congress at the subpoena of its committee to investigate the president?
Constitution requires me to protect the separation of powers and our ability to do investigations in the future. It requires me, and the court proceedings make that clear, to weigh whatever interests you have against the interests of law enforcement. The president has asserted executive privilege, and I have not heard a legitimate legislative reason why the audio is insufficient for any purpose, the legitimate purpose.
You know what demeanor evidence is, don't you, sir?
I'm sorry?
Demeanor evidence. You know what that is. You sat on the bench for decades. You know
I know what demeanor evidence.
Okay.
I know what demeanor evidence is, and I've not been shown any reason why audio evidence of demeanor would make a difference in any legislative purpose.
Well, that's exactly what demeanor evidence is, sir. Witnessing and observing a witness as they testify. And what can be done by this committee is to observe the audio recording of the president testifying to see whether it comports with the transcript or whether it reveals things about his capacity or his veracity or anything else that comes from his demeanor as he is interviewed.
Well, none of the things that you just mentioned are a legislative purpose. I haven't yet to suggest any law that you intend to pass or are thinking about in which the audio would make a difference over the transcript.
If a future DOJ concludes, well, let me ask you this question. What happened to Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon when they decided to defy a subpoena of the Congress?
We received 4 referrals, criminal referrals. 2 were prosecuted, 2 were not. The 2 that were prosecuted, as the published court opinions make clear,
what will happen to you if your decision is baseless?
May I continue to answer?
No, I know what happened. You know what happened too. Mr. Navarro's in prison. What will happen to you if your sole determination that you're not going to cooperate with this committee's subpoena is
with respect to the 2 people you asked, the court made clear they did not comply in any way, did not even appear, and second, there was no executive privilege. Neither of those is true in my case.
If a future Department of Justice follows the facts and the law, as you're fond of reciting, even to the point of prosecuting a former president, then if your decision is baseless, you should be prosecuted, right?
This goes on for a whole lot longer, but know that he didn't answer the last question about himself being prosecuted. He just basically deferred away from it. And the idea is very simple. The committee wants to check the tapes and confirm if the transcript checks out. They also want to hear if President Biden is still mentally sound, because special counsel Hur said that he had a tough time recalling memories from the past, even some just as far back as his time as vice president, which honestly wasn't that long ago. Although the president didn't forget about his interview with Robert Hur, because just a few few weeks ago, he moved to block any attempt to collect the audio from it. Does that seem suspect to you? Because some analysts believe that this is due to Merrick Garland tampering with the transcript, meaning that the tapes and the transcript do not match. So it's highly possible that the audio would be incredibly harmful for the president's political ambitions this year. At least that's what many experts believe. We all know that he doesn't need much help to show us that he's not as mentally sharp as he used to be. The president, though, is seemingly preparing for his debates with Donald Trump. He's so focused on these debates that he's actually rejected an offer from X's Elon Musk to have a town hall meeting over the social media platform. He also invited former President Donald Trump and RFK Jr., who's also running for president. Elon Musk says that this town hall is for sure to be interesting, and many predict that it will attract attendees from across the globe. And Donald Trump's getting support from people who don't really like him as much. Doug Leone, who's a billionaire venture capitalist, previously lambasted Donald Trump after the entire J6 situation. But he, along with many Americans, are now tired of what's happening to our country. He says that he's concerned about the general direction of our country. He's worried about the broken immigration system and our ballooning deficit, not to mention the foreign policy missteps taken by this administration. And Leone is not alone with this renewed support for Trump. Both small and big-time donors are rallying behind Donald Trump as he continues to set records for campaign donations. And word has come out about one billionaire who's pledged to donate more than $90 million to Trump's campaign. Now that's a staggering number.
Ultra-wealthy Republican donors are rallying behind Donald Trump after the hush money conviction. Trump's campaign claims it raised an astounding $53 million after the verdict was announced. And fence-sitting billionaires who had once distanced themselves from the Republican are now openly backing him. However, President Joe Biden's campaign continues to hold a massive lead in fundraising. Here's the latest in the all-important money race as the two candidates vie for fundraising supremacy.
Donald Trump has seen a surge in popularity after he was convicted in the hush money trial. MAGA supporters called it a political witch hunt carried out by the White House.
I was not surprised. I knew what they were going to do. They're trying to stop him.
I think the justice system is corrupt. There's a lot of liberal judges, and I think they're going after Trump.
And rallying behind Trump are some of America's wealthiest people. Just 24 hours after the verdict, Trump's campaign raised nearly $53 million. As per reports, Israeli-American casino billionaire Miriam Adelson is expected to donate $90 million to Trump's campaign.
But it just goes to show that people want something different. They're yearning for change to come to the United States. The surprising concept, though, is that even Democrats are changing their minds about Trump. And since we're already talking about money, you guys probably remember the money that was sent out by the Biden administration during the health crisis. And while some of that money definitely did help some of us, a huge portion of it was actually stolen or taken by fraudsters. One example would be the $250 million that was allegedly stolen by Somali immigrants in Minnesota. The money was supposed to be used for a government program for hungry children. Instead, it looks as if the money was sent to their home country. Now, as far as I know, the case isn't done yet, although I can confirm that at least one of the jurors was bribed $120,000 to acquit these people. We're not entirely sure where the money came from, but it's incredibly alarming to know that millions of dollars that could have gone to Americans was stolen that easily. But what do you guys think about that? Now, I know we all have different perspectives on things that are happening with our country. All I'm doing here is keeping you guys informed of what's really going on around us. Now, before I go, I just want to thank y'all for hitting the like button for the video. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing this video. I'll see you on the next one.